Claude Code isn't just for developers. You can use it for almost anything. I'll show you how to get started by installing it into your system and use it to organize files and build real dashboards. No coding required. Check it out. I'm Zack from InnerDev Solutions. Our channel shows you how to streamline operations with automation and AI. If you need direct help, you can visit our website, InnerDevSolutions.com. So what is Claude Code? Claude Code is an AI chatbot, but with also additional features as well. So think of your ChatGPT or your Claude desktop apps or web browser apps where you go in and you chat with it and it provides responses back to you. And they can take actions on different files and stuff like that. This takes it to the next level. You can still chat with it, ask it questions, ask it to explain different files to you, have it perform different tasks and provide you with text-based replies still. But what this does is you install it into your system level, you open up terminal, you can actually still use this within the Claude desktop. There's now cowork and code tabs embedded right into it. Specifically, what I'm going to show you is how to use it within the terminal and use it within an IDE like Visual Studio Code. It's not that scary at all. I have learned how to use Claude Code within the terminal, within Visual Studio Code, and it has been an absolute game changer. What I'm going to show you how to do is how to install it into your system and then how to get started with it. We're going to keep it really simple. I'll show you some of the high level features. There's a lot more that you can do with it, but to get started here, first thing we need to do is install Claude. Go to Google or go to the Claude website, type in Claude Code Docs, bring up something like this. Now, there's two ways to install it locally or within your terminal. You can bring up terminal or you can download Visual Studio Code. If you don't have it already, you can download it for free as well. Just type in Visual Studio Code download, and then you can download it for your specific system. I'm on a Mac, so this is what I have downloaded. Once you have that all installed, as I mentioned, there's two ways to go about doing this. On Mac and on Windows are two different things, but in the documentation, it explains it all here. We're going to just copy this command right here, and I'm just going to open up Terminal Direct. You can, as I mentioned, open up a terminal in Visual Studio Code. It does exactly the same thing. You can do that by hitting Command Space, typing terminal, and it will open up something like this. You can see this is in my new and fresh demo account on my computer. I set up a clean demo account so I can show you the full installation process. Paste it in now and hit enter. One thing to note, to get full use out of Claude Code, you do need a paid account. They start at about $20 a month, and that's for the pro account. Now that Claude's installed successfully, it's given me a setup note here. So if I just copy this entire command, drop it in, we should be good to go. And now it has initialized Claude for the first instance. Enable dark mode, I'm good with that. Now it's saying that it can be used with a subscription or build based on API usage. I have a subscription. That's the route I'm going to go. And that's the way I would recommend going, at least to get started. Enter on this Claude account with subscription and hit enter. Now it's brought me to the Claude authentication page. I'm going to go ahead and authorize this. It says that it's been authorized. Open up terminal again, and it says login's been successful. I'll go ahead, hit enter. And now it's giving you some security notes to get started. Enter through that. And I'm just going to use the recommended settings. Yes, I'm going to trust this folder. You'll likely get a number of different prompts that you're going to have to accept. It's just allowing Claude to have access to these different directories. We can see that we are currently on the Sonnet 4.6 model. It shows our subscription, and we can see that we are on our main user account here, kind of at the top level. So something I do recommend doing is setting up different folders and projects to use within Claude Code, but I'll show you more about that in a moment. Really important to get started is these slash commands. So if I hit slash, we can see there's different options that come up here. And one of the most important ones to get started is if I type in slash model and I can select the model, I've got a couple different options. This is the Sonnet, Opus, and Haiku. They all have different levels of cost. What I recommend is to use Sonnet as much as you can over Opus. Opus will burn up your credits. This is great for things like planning. To actually execute your plan, we will use Sonnet primarily. Now that we have Claude on our system, we ask Claude to create a folder or directory for us. We're actually going to create this ourselves. So we'll go into Finder, or you can use File Explorer. Likely it will say your name here. So select your name. This is the user account name. And I'm going to right click, new folder, and call this projects. And this is where we're going to work within for most of our use cases. If we have different projects, we can come in here and set it up. I'll double click into projects. And right now we have a clean directory or a clean folder. Now, what I want to do is I want to set up at least one project within here. I'm going to back it up once, right click on this. And now there's a few different ways to get Claude to access this directory. But here's one of the quickest ways. If you have Finder open, you can right click on it, go down to services and click new terminal at folder. Now that we have it open, here's the projects folder. We can initialize Claude by typing in Claude. Yes, I trust this folder. And now we have the Sonnet model loaded and we are in the projects folder. I have a downloads folder right here, and I've just got two example or sample documents in here. I have this statement, which is a bank statement, and I'll explain that in more detail in a moment, and a sales.csv. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come over here, ask Claude to move the PDF and the CSV from my downloads folder into the projects folder. I'll just say from downloads folder, move the two files into the at projects folder. And I probably don't even have to do at projects because I'm already within it. I'll just type to the projects folder and enter, and let's see what happens here. It wants to list files in the downloads folder. It keeps asking us and prompting us for access to these different directories and folders and actions it needs to take. I'm going to say yes, it's no problem. Again, now it's going to do a move command. I can hit yes, and we can see that it's now disappeared from our downloads folder back here. It says it's been done. Let's go into projects, and it now has both of those files within that folder. Before I move on to next steps, one additional thing that I want to show you is, and you don't have to do this after each individual prompt, it's more so after each kind of set of tasks that you do. It's good to clear the context window or it gets eaten up quite quickly. You just do that again by hitting /clear, and we can clear the conversation and we can start from scratch because we are moving on to the next task. Another important feature of Claude Code is the planning feature. All I've done here, I've just duplicated the same statement, so it's not a direct example of how we're going to use this here, but a couple things. I'm going to explain to you how to use the plan feature, and I'm also going to show you an example or a use case of how this can come in handy using Claude Code. Let's say within our projects folder, we want to create a new folder and just call it statements because we want to save all of our statements from all of our different bank accounts for accounting purposes and reconciliation purposes. Let's pretend here that maybe each of these statements are a different month or they're different bank statements from different types of accounts. What we could actually do is right click new folder. Again, we can ask Claude to do all of these things. And this is just going to be called bank statements, or we can call it accounting. That might be a better idea, actually. This is going to be an accounting project within the projects folder. So this is where everything's going to live. Within the accounting folder, we could have maybe different years where we're saving bank statements. We could go even an extra level deeper and just call this folder bank statements. We could have a different folder for each bank account. So maybe we have an account with bank 1 and bank 2 and bank 3, or a credit card statement. There's all different ways, however you want it to work best for you, to organize this type of thing. Basically, what I'm going to do in this video is just keep it really simple. We're going to ask Claude to take all of the different statement PDFs, rename them, and move them to the accounting folder. Now, you could probably see where this is going to be getting quite powerful is, let's say you've just dropped at the top level all of your bank statements, and you do this every 2 or 3 months. You can ask it to go through and organize all of these files for you and rename them. So it's going to save you a lot of time from having to do this manually. Now, using the plan feature of this, so we're already in the projects folder. I'm just going to hit plan. And this just writes out a plan and thinks about it before actually taking action. What we can say is in the projects folder, there are multiple PDF statements. I want you to rename these statements based on the bank and date and move them to the accounting folder. Start running this plan. I actually do this myself. I have a file set up, and I'll get into that in a moment as well. It's a CLAUDE.md file that has these instructions. I have multiple different bank accounts with different currencies and across different banks and credit cards. Each month I have to go in, download that bank statement and give it a valid name like the statement date or the month and the year. Then I have to go find the correct folder within my accounting folder. And then I have to drop in each one to each individual folder. Now, basically what I do is I have a context file that explains all of these different instructions. Is go in, read each of these statements that exists at whatever level I've saved them at. It could even be your downloads folder, and figure out which statement they are. So what bank they exist in, what year, and it will move it for you. So you can go ahead and do this on like a quarterly basis, and it just will save you a ton of time. Okay, so now it's asking for some information here, and it's just asking to extract some data from the bank statement. So it has some additional context of what this is. We'll just say yes. Let's go ahead and do that, and we'll let it continue running from here. Okay, the plan's now complete. It is a really good idea to use this plan feature when you're doing any type of new action or anything that's a little bit more complicated. It's good to have a good plan in place. Basically, it's outlined the plan here. I'm not going to worry about reading through it too closely. I'm just going to let it go ahead and execute this plan. So yes, clear context and execute. The plan has been executed. It's given me a brief description of what it did. And we can see over here, all of those statements are now gone. If I double click into accounting, we can see that they exist here with the naming convention that the plan built out. Now, again, what I would recommend is jumping into that plan, editing it to fit your specific needs, but it does have something in place here. Now, the next thing that I'm actually going to do is ask it to create that CLAUDE.md folder inside my accounting folder here, so that next time I can just give it instructions, say where all of these different files currently exist, and to read the CLAUDE.md file and then take action. What we can do here is create a CLAUDE.md file based on this plan and place in the accounting folder. Okay, it created that file. I'm going to right click on it and open it in Visual Studio Code so that we can see it a little bit easier. It generated this file for me. Again, you might want to go through and clean it up a little bit. The CLAUDE.md file is something that exists in whatever project folder that you're within, and Claude will always look to it for additional context. It's good to keep this updated. You can come in here, update it manually based off any changes or anything that it didn't get quite right. And also, at any point in time, you can ask Claude Code to update this specific file with additional context. If you've taken some new actions or you want it to do something a little bit different, you can say, now update the CLAUDE.md file within this directory or within this folder, and it will come in here and update that accordingly. Okay, we're going to clear this context again. So you can just /clear, and we are going to start fresh. We are within the projects directory, and we're in the projects directory here. So we're looking at the same thing. I'm going to provide one additional example that's building out a dashboard based off of this sales report. Before I get into that, there's two things that I really wanted to touch on quickly. There's plugins and there's skills. These are two separate things. They're kind of similar. To focus on the plugins for a moment, if we hit /plugins, we can see that Claude has plugins that we can manage. If we click into it, we can see the Claude marketplace. They have this front end design. They have code review, superpowers. They have a lot of different plugins built in that we can use. I'm just going to escape back out of this a couple of times. And now if I hit / start typing in skills, we can see the available skills here. Right now that we do not have any skills installed, but basically what skills are additional context files and folders that give Claude Code more understanding of the task that it's trying to take action on. A great place to find skills, and Claude Code does provide some themselves, but if you go to skills.sh, that's what it looks like right here. You can access all different types of skills. Here's the top skills. They have a find skills skill themselves. That's a good idea to install into Claude. And that way you can just ask it after you've installed it to say, find a skill to do this, to see if there's anything that exists. Now, I wouldn't install a whole bunch of skills just randomly, only if there's something specifically that you need. For example, front-end design, the agent browser, and then this find skills specifically. What I'm actually going to do is select this, click this copy icon here, and we're going to install this into our folder. So we can see we're still in the projects folder. That's where I want this to exist. And now if I hit escape, I'm just going to say install this skill. I'm going to paste in that command and Claude will go ahead and install it for us. Okay, now that it's been installed, sometimes you have to close out of Claude Code and reopen it for it to find it. I'm just going to click the X here. We'll terminate and I will open it up again inside this projects folder. We can do that by going back to your account level. I'm just going to right click on this, down to services, new terminal folder. And now if I just type in Claude, we should be able to initialize it / skills. And we can see that there is a find skills skill that exists now, or at the skills level, we can just select enter and we can see that it exists here as well. At this point, I could just / type in find skills and then enter on that and then type in whatever type of skill that I'm trying to find. At a high level, that's how you use skills. And again, that skills.sh website is a great option to be able to find new skills to do whatever it is that you're trying to do. Last thing here, I'm going to go back into my Finder app, navigate into projects. I'm going to create a new folder and just call this sales dashboard, drop this sales file into it, right click and open a new terminal. I'm going to type in Claude and now we're in the sales dashboard. This is where we're going to install the plugin / plugin. I'm going to hit enter on the front end design. You can see that there's the arrow beside it and we will install in this repo only or this local scope. I'll go ahead, hit install. It's asking us to restart Claude Code. Terminate that again. We will go into services, new terminal, and initialize Claude. We're in the projects and sales dashboard. And if I hit / plugin, go over to installed, we can see it is now installed. I can hit escape. To activate the plugin, we're going to start with / start typing in front end design. We can see that it exists here. I'm going to hit tab. It will automatically insert that. And now I can say create a dashboard based on and we can use the @ sales CSV file. We'll hit enter. We could have done this in plan mode first. We could have provided additional instructions on what we wanted to see. But for the purpose of this demo, let's see what it comes up with this very ambiguous prompt. It's asking if I want to create this index.html file, which I do. I'll go ahead and hit yes. It's giving me a brief description of the dashboard that it developed. I can either type this command right here and you can see that it's giving me the command there, or if I hit tab, it will actually insert it right there. So that's going to be the quickest way to open it, or I can navigate to that folder, double click on index.html, and it will open it up in my browser as well. Double click on it. I'll drag this into our view. And we can see this is the dashboard that it developed for us based off of that CSV file. There's a lot of different information here. We didn't give it any other instructions, so this is what it created, but it does look really good visually. These two examples are just scratching the surface. The features that I showed you, like using skills, plugins, using the plan mode as well, using / model to change the different model that you're using, are all of the top level or the simple types of features that are available. Now, skills and plugins specifically do get a little bit more advanced depending on the different skills and plugins that you're going to be using. Those are all features that are really important to get used to right off the top. There's so much more that can be done with Claude Code. There's lots of resources out there between YouTube and Reddit and different blogs and courses out there as well. This is just scratching the surface. It's honestly endless what you can do with it at this point in time, and it's only getting better. Now, like I said, you can do all of this that I just showed you within the Claude app or desktop app itself using Cowork and Claude Code. But I do find it that once you get familiar with the terminal, it's not that scary. And once you start working within Claude Code via the terminal or Visual Studio Code, I do find it to be super powerful. Now that's it for this tutorial and this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more videos in the future.